take us away.
We are in a camper, in your camper, our camper. It feels like a ceremony. It does feel to me like a ceremony. Not just this day, but like this last week. Today is summer solstice. It's our last day before I go to Montreal. I've been here for over 1 month. It feels like a second chapter in a way of like the second month I felt. We both were like, oh, it feels like a second chapter of a spring, which felt like just ended. And I think I would like to I would like to just dive into where we are, in what time, where are we, where you are, and kind of go like free flow, making love podcast in this moment, what's present, what's alive, and have this episode to be a closing episode of spring and opening of summer.
Yeah, it does feel very ceremonial. I'll add that we're in the Ojai Valley, and we spent about a few weeks in Tahoe, in land that's very in my bones and in my psyche, in my personal myth. And then for the last week we've been driving, and we stopped at some hot springs, and drove up through Mammoth Lakes and visited a dear friend of yours on the coast in Santa Barbara. And and now we're camped out in this sweet, very quiet valley in this camper for the night, and we'll wake up at 4 a.m. and drive you to the airport. I'm feeling emptied, and tired in a good way. Not exhausted, but like I think we both reflected with each other that we're ready for our personal flow, because to be in the work, in the work of sacred relating, and in the work of love making, and the work of making love with another, is its own kind of speed, and it's tiring, and it's beautiful, and I'm looking forward to having some weeks where that's not the case, where it's just me and some writing and some work and the road and some waters and different things. So I think I'm there. I'm feeling like maybe I won't go fully in, but this week has been a closing for us of a relationship, or of a season of our relationship. And and it's been really beautiful to honor this season with you. And I'm also in some version of like, whoa, what's this next month contain? It feels like some rest and some resetting. And then it feels like we're looking ahead into some unknown. And that's beautiful. So yeah, I'm there.
Thank you. I think I wanted to add, when you say work, we also working together. So I think this month was actually, we really were working, like also not just work as relating, but actually co-creating and working together and finding a flow. Where when I came here, I remember the first 2 weeks, there were a few days where we were like figuring out the flow, and you were driving me often to a place, and then there's other things that you have to tend. And then I'm also in a country where I don't have a data. We didn't have a well, we kind of have a Wi-Fi where we were, but not so, it's not so easy. So we're kind of finding, the best way how to work, when to work also, like finding that flow. I think that was also a big part of this month. And I think I felt like by the end we sort of found a good flow in the work. And I also felt like there was this, and I heard you when you said, oh, but I have to always like, you were kind of like tending, like I could feel that you're driving, so there's not also, like you can be so much in your flow. And then you're sort of making sure that I have a flow. So I could feel that. But I think I feel very good when it comes to work, when it comes to our project. So I just wanted to add that. And yes, I definitely want to speak to what I felt this spring, because today we spoke about spring and how spring ended, and I felt like since we left Thailand, I felt like the spring was just following me or following us, whichever country or continent, the spring sort of started there. Mm. It was almost like, and so when I came to the States and we drove after landing in San Francisco, but like landing in like Echo, where you have a cabin.
It's a high mountain lake, yeah.
And there was like still snow, and I was like, oh my god! And the tree starts to open up, so it was again the spring, and I was laughing, and I felt that this was the longest spring that I have experienced in some time. And then I was thinking symbolically and metaphorically as well within myself and within our relationship. There was like a very long spring, but like very beautiful, like new flowers, sort of new seeds. And then this morning I was also thinking about, it felt like the spring was also like you meeting my child. I was meeting your child in a way, because you came to my family and I met now, like I'm still probably gonna meet more in August, but there was something beautiful, like I felt like we were meeting our child, like our inner child. And then today where we hiked, I really felt, and we did rappel together, and I said, and I really felt like celebrating the summer solstice, which was like time to go into adulthood and meet each other as adults.
It was beautiful.
And I think I want to speak a little bit about, maybe you want to start about the ceremony that we did a week ago, and I'm so thankful that you proposed it, and I realized the importance of ceremony. Of setting intentions, like truly, and doing it with another person. And I really felt it helped us. It helped me extremely. I was able to like close something, and it's never perfect. Like I don't expect it to be like, oh, it's closed and now I moved on. But I felt that act of ceremony is so important in relationships and in relating and for us humans. So.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, maybe before I speak about the ceremony, I think it's to authentically speak about why and where it came from. Like there was I think both of us, our love is deep, our relationship is strong. We are actively engaged in attempting to discover what it looks like to truly make love and what a sacred relationship might really be, with a recognition that we don't actually know what that is, but we're trying, and that there's it sort of a strong relationship might escape all definitions that we would already put on it. So like monogamous, polyamorous, married, like there are all these different labels, open, Yeah, there are labels that we have, and none of them, I think, fit any one thing. And I think what you and I have said, we've talked about on this podcast a little bit, is that we've realized a lot of what our relationship that we've been doing is exploring our own dynamics with power, or with sex, money, and power. But to some degree, I guess all of those could be power dynamics. And so there are power dynamics that we've been really conscious of at times, but then we're really like in them. We're in the patterns with each other, and we're playing parts with each other, and we've both felt that. And that was a big story of ours in Czech. We had a break, and then I think as you've landed in the US, exploring my child, I could feel myself having less patience, but also you having a stronger. So the dynamic has changed slightly, and maybe my inner child has a little bit more inability to just like hold and be patient. I could feel at times my rage, or my rage isn't the right word. My trigger. I would just get triggered, and I'd just be like, I'm done with this shit. And so we've been doing the work and the actual, like, we've been working together and doing the work of relating. And then there's been some parts that have been coming. And so we were leaving a week ago. We've been with these very beautifully. There's been some hikes. And I think what's been amazing to me is to watch us. It's almost like I can feel us like get into something and then come back to love quicker and quicker. So it's not the potency of the actual patterns that we're in that we're pulling each other into. It's actually just how quickly we're coming back into right relating. And then we had one of these days, and we could both feel it. And maybe in this day, it feels like we each have a story of the other one. And there's just sort of this it feels like magnets, and there's kind of an energy that comes into the space. And we'd already been like, we're finished, but these things are never finished. And so as we were driving and sort of reflecting and kind of being in it, I was like, I've hit a wall, and we need to end whatever we've been in. There was sort of this recognition that our relationship is now, it's not even you and it's not me. It's like we are creating a habit. It's like we have these grooves that we're falling into, and these grooves themselves are some version of an argument there's an argumentative tone. And I was kind of like, I want to end our relationship. I don't want to stop loving you, and I don't want to stop being in, you are my best friend, and you are my sister. And I love you, and I will be there when you die, but I don't want to be doing whatever we're doing anymore. And so, and I don't know what that means. And I think, but it wasn't a surprise, because we've had these, and so then there was just, we came up with the idea to have a ceremony and close. And you felt in, and you were like, yeah, this is right. And so, and you being both of us being ceremonialists, but I think I trust your medicine woman in a big way. And so you created a strong container, and we had this release. And then we sort of were like, there's an interesting place that we're now in, and it was what comes next. And I think the ask was to be like, we're going to make that. So there's some container that we're going to land in, but I think what you came up with is like, it felt exhausting and maybe even too much of the pattern to start defining it again. And so it's just like, we're now we left something, and we'll make something else, but we're in, I think what you called a gray, there's a release. And yeah, and that ceremony was quite potent. And so maybe you can add any color to that.
Yeah, no, I think you said it really beautifully, very well. Yeah, I remember, like, after the ceremony, I think this is my nature. I jump or I dive into things. I often don't. yeah, there's a part of me that doesn't overthink things. You know, it's like it just feels right, and so I do them. And I think I kind of approached this ceremony a little bit like that. It's like, oh, it's gonna be this, but then I felt, I did felt the, and I feel this often, when we say things, when we actually claim things, it's here suddenly. It's like something happened, and there's no. So even though part of me would be like, oh, that was just a little thing, like I felt sadness. I felt confusion. I was like, whoa, what did we just do? You know, I had a moment. I was like, did we? But then, like, the next day woke up, and I think because the next day we were like still, I think the next day helped me to basically kind of truly come back to love and release, and reconnect in a new way. I felt how important it was, and how much it helped me, because I've been seeing a lot of mine and a lot of my work, you know, a lot of my parts, and I don't think I want to repeat now because, but there was this one big one which was like, and I think we said it to each other in the ceremony, was the recognition I told you about. I don't know how it came to me, whether it was through tarot card or, and I was questioning something about us, and it was sacred relationship. This is what we are exploring, and what came with it was it's a sacrifice. And then I was like, whoa, that doesn't feel good. But then I was thinking, why? And then I started to feel all these like beliefs that I have about sacrifice, that it's something like I give away something, or I have to kill an animal, or, you know, like sort of saw it in a dark way. And then I sat with it, and I was like, no, this is a sacrifice of my ego. It's like, and I could see how much, and I could have not done it otherwise, but how much I was still keeping us apart and sort of defending my ego a lot of the time, and like trying to fight for space, or for to be seen, or to be basically. I created often division, like me against you, or you against me, all that exists within me. So in the end, I'm just projecting what's inside of me. I could see it today, you know, like, but today was very gentle, but like...
But today was different. We had a similar thing. I mean, we're always going to have projection.
Yeah.
But it's how we handle it. And today was beautiful.
Yeah. And so the sacrifice, like what came to me was like, oh my God, sacred relationship means I'm sacrificing, maybe some of these, I'm not sacrificing parts, but I'm sacrificing some kind of clinging into my ego identity that doesn't allow me to come to unity with another person. And within a group, the same thing. So, and I don't say I have to like completely I'm not sacrificing myself, but there is something that really helped me to be like, so when then I was feeling like, why am I arguing? Well, often the times it's like I'm fighting for some, a lot of the time it's like to be seen, or to be right, to be right. So there's this duality, there's this like... the
sacrifice, I think something's landing for me, because you shared this in the last podcast a little bit, but we didn't go into it. And what's landing is what we're sacrificing, I think, because that's the other piece you shared there. We're sacrificing our story, which is what we're trying to be right about.
Right.
So, and we haven't discussed dreaming in unison, but this idea, which is the name of the organization that we work with, but you know, for two to dream in unison together, each has to sacrifice their individual stories to a collective story. And that's hard. Like, just that act takes so much trust and release and seeing of self, and there's like a lot that goes into it. And then we can basically just do that same thing, and then a relationship can sacrifice its story of itself into a community, and it can serve the story of that community, and a community can serve the story of some larger gathering of people, all the way up to humanity doing something together as one people. There's something where for us to do the same thing as two, as a couple. That's what we've been learning. We've been learning about our individual stories of how we relate to this particular thing that pisses me off about you. And then the other one's like, but that's pisses me off about you. Or like, this, it's not that at all. It's this. And it's just at the point that both just go like, okay, it doesn't matter. Then those individual stories actually become they become rich soil for something, and you understand yourselves in a new way. And I think that's a lot of the dance that we've been doing. And it feels like maybe the ceremony that we just went through is we gave up those. It's not, you don't give them up. You still get to have your story of yourself. Just not, it's the relationship serves something greater. It's not fighting for it. Yeah, it's just like, oh, you've got that happening, but then there's actually another collective thing that's a brand new vision and a brand new story. And I think that's what we have. We have some ceremony to create together, maybe in a way that we weren't able to the first time we came together, because that takes its own ceremony and work and agreement tending, but the release and just being like, okay, we're going to allow for a collective story to exist amongst us.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I actually think, not that I think, but I feel like if I'm a storyteller and you are a storyteller and we come together to tell a story, first there is some kind of friction that needs to happen. There is like an exchange. There is like learning the language together, and that's never harmonious. When I often work with artists, it's not harmonious. There's a lot of friction, and when friction happen, but the resolution of the friction is the one that brings the fruits. The friction itself, it's maybe, I don't think it's unnecessary, but sometimes it's actually really necessary. It's like fire.
I think it's necessary.
And it burns the things that shouldn't be there, or they're not supposed to be there. And then it's like coming together again. That's where like the art happens. So it's beautiful. And I'm feeling like, that sits really well. So with this, that was big. So for me, that really landed in that ceremony. And there was something that I let go of, this like need to define something within myself, or not define, like defend or push. Yeah, exactly. I think what you said, it's so big, the story. And how can we like write a story that is now there's two storytellers, or three, or four.
Fit stories together, myths to create. But I love this about friction, and I feel this about harmony too. Like harmony as an end unto itself is so small. Like if you just try and make things harmonious in a group of people, you can't do much. You can just make things sound or feel good. So you have to create some, there needs to be a force in that group that sort of is pulling it. And you can hear this in music. There needs to be something that's stretching it out, like whether it's a drum beat or something that's kind of bringing it a little bit. And it's like, no, just make it, because it's this harmony kind of comes in. And so, you need this other force, but friction just unto itself then is some that creates just disruption. But
And I think one last thing I want to add to this, to our learning about sacred relationship and the spring ending I can see that we also like we are very cyclical together. There's like cycles. We are honoring cycles, and within these cycles, whether it's the seasonal or the cosmic or the microcosmic, what I also felt as a confirmation of what we already discussed and what we are, especially you came to me, and then but I already sort of subconsciously knew that that's the way how I also want to relate, is this shedding of, it's basically like re-meeting, not having a fixated idea about each other, about what we are. And even though, let's say, I would feel like even though we would do so great, whatever that means, we would be so harmonious for maybe 6 months. Maybe after the 6 months, I would be like, hey, can we like just recheck and like close something here and just re-meet again? Because I think it is so essential, and I wish I could do this with all my friends. It's like once in a while just check in or have a ceremonial way of meeting and being like, hey, can we re-meet? Like, I have all these ideas about you, or this is what I've been feeling, and this is what I'm starting to create within myself. This is how I'm starting to, and just like shed that, or if there's a way to like shake it off and just re-question, refresh how we see each other. And hopefully we can do that on an everyday basis when we wake up and be like, hey, who are you? I see you asked me this morning.
For another time.
That's for another time. That's a
for
small question.
For the audience, yeah. I mean, it was imbued with a lot of power. This question, who are you was the question, and that created some lovely friction in our day, because you're like,
because I couldn't
I don't fucking know who I am. Don't you know who I am? Who are you to ask me this shit?
Oh gosh.
There's something I want to say, because I think what you were saying is really powerful, or it's true, but also I think I'm learning the wisdom. I think where a lot of where you and I meet and have synergy, it is in this, like, okay, we can feel something and then begin to do it and find out what it meant after we've already begun walking, as opposed to plan it out beforehand. So this ceremony, I'm learning. I've thought about healthy relationship plenty, and I've been in relationship plenty, but I've not often spent a lot of time in healthy relationship. And this is, so I think what I'm learning with this ceremony is there's something really beautiful in just the closing of something. Like you talked about, can we come to relationship, and then it's the same thing that we see in healing. It's like, let's talk about everything that's not going well is kind of endless. It's really good to do at times, but healing at some point just needs to be finished. I mean, it's you finished with the act of it, because we're a constant, there's constantly something to heal in us. But I think what we're finding now in this relationship is there is a need to sort of like close something, but then what that might offer is the ability to recreate. And it's just the like, wherever we are, let's close it. And now let's speak new life into our future. Like, we don't have to go so much into what's wrong with us. Is there love here? Is there connection here? Is there beauty? Is there love that wants to be made? If so, and there's friction, let's close it. And you don't want to do this like every week, like it's quite a big thing. I think we both felt it's a very big thing. There's love, but there's less cords now between us somehow. Like there's like, whoa, okay, there's a bit of like, all right. And so it's a big thing to do. And I think you've kind of got to be ready for it, I think. But there's something really beautiful. And I think if that happens before now, our next step is to create a new story with intention together. And there's something so beautiful. And because we closed it, we can actually do that. We can speak new intentions together and not have to carry all the old baggage and all the old feelings. It's like, no, that it's all brand new. And so, yeah, it's really, I think we may have just stumbled on some healthy relating tip number 1.
I think so. And yeah, ceremonies are, yeah, so beautiful. Can be so many things. Did with intention. I think I want to close this episode with what you said. Like, we closed it, and then I told you I'm not ready to redefine or like put some new agreements, or just I did say like let's be in the gray zone, or like the just like flowy zone, or having some spaciousness. And with that, maybe I'm as the summer starts, I'm going to Canada, and I will be there sort of touching back my old identity. You know, it's like I've moved out from there beginning of COVID. It always felt like home. It was very difficult for me to leave it. It's now the 4th time or 3rd time that I'm going back to revisit it. I always go there with like dreams and hopes and like so I'm curious to touch that place and see what it brings me as to me. And today, with this like theme of the day, who I am, I think there is something really I think I know who I am, and I think I don't know who I am. It's like it is so both.
No, it's both.
And I feel like claiming, yeah. So I don't want to go into this now, but maybe that's gonna be sort of, in some ways, my time in Montreal is like redefining the summer version of me, 2025. And then meeting you back, and I think that's when I'm back, maybe slowly we can start to talk about what are the intentions and what are the, let's say, maybe new agreements, or what story do we wanna write?
Yes. That feels like season 3.
Yeah.
To make our new agreements.
Yeah.
Making love, I think.
And yeah, that was good. I am also, I know it doesn't need to be here, but I do feel like it's important to mention, because that happened this week too. And it's this war, USA, Trump, Iran. It is also doing something to me. I don't need to go into the story, but I'm also feeling with the question of who I am, what am I doing, and just like feeling this like craziness. So yeah, and like what am I doing in this time on this planet? So.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? Yeah.
In the recognition that as our species, maybe the story that we're all telling each other is everything is war. Everything ends in war. So yeah, what are we doing in that individually?
Where's my place, and how can I walk as I feel a lot of sadness and yeah.
Beautiful. Let's find that together. Let's do some world change operations together.
I also feel, to close, maybe the very last thing, when I return I think it will be beautiful because at that time, there's good. I would like to maybe share, about dreaming in unison. I think the time will be right and ripe, as we're working on breathing life into it since some time. And I feel like the summer is bringing something. There's gonna be something already, like a little plant to share about. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we blow all the candles and it's just gonna be
it's like a birthday
black, and then I don't have to edit anything.
This is my favorite. We have my two best friends in the camper. I haven't lit these candles. There's one underneath the camera, but this one is Holy Death and this one is Holy Spirit. So my ceremonial candles made their way into our final episode here. But I wanted to share that Holy Spirit went out before we started the podcast, and Holy Death was going, and then during the podcast, Holy Death went out and Holy Spirit relit.
Oh wow!
So, whatever that means.
Wow.
So I think we're gonna leave this one burning.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's blow the candles.
Let's do it.